Hello world, hello Australia. It's Jamie here, the Crypto Koala. Now today, guys, I've got Max Sim. He's the founder of Sentiment. Great to have you here today, Max.
Hey JB, great to be on your channel too. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Now I understand you're in Thailand, a beautiful place, good place to do business. So, mate, what are you doing in Thailand at the moment?
It's the last session of our Asian trip. Is part of our team where we went first to Hong Kong, did presentation and education on Hong Kong University. Then went to Singapore, meet our friends, partners, and also did some event. And finally, we get here, Thailand, for some time to work together. And for me personally, also like combining with some yoga practice because here there are some good places to do yoga in Thailand.
Wonderful, Max. Now,
So yeah.
just to let the viewers know that just where the internet's just a little bit, say it's a little bit lagging in Thailand, because the connection might be a little bit poor. So I apologise in advance to the viewers. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what inspired you to get involved with Sentiment?
Yeah, that's a good question. The inspiration initially came from two factors. I've been doing or living like 8 to 10 years in the yoga area, and before this, I was a software developer for a long time. And then this crypto things came. Bitcoin maybe first wave I missed it, or like I heard but didn't participate much. But then starting 2014-15, I got interest. And yeah, from that moment of time, I decided, okay, maybe time to leave yoga and start doing something in the outside world, participate in the society. And yeah, and like, you know, in crypto, 1 year goes for 5, things develop very fast. So then suddenly starting doing blog posting or even market analysis because I had this background too. And then moving fast to get some initial traction in the community and I don't know, some ICO crowd sale and using platform. Yeah, things goes fast. But yeah, input was actually from both my desire to participate in society in a strong way and then some skills I had from the past before you go like software or market analysis.
Great stuff. So you've got a background in market analysis.
Okay. Yeah, I did it. I did it for some time. First, for my personal interest, when I got exposure to yoga, I also got interest in mass psychology or personal psychology because it's like everything's connected. Once you understand yourself, and it's okay, other people are more or less similar. And then you look in the market, it looks very interesting phenomena of people, I don't know, like sometimes crazily overvaluing, undervaluing, and reacting to this event when the price or value change so much. That got me very interesting. And so I was doing it even during my yoga time. And when the time came, all this knowledge came very handy. Yeah, I was always prepared.
So Max, after the last 2 years, being in the crypto markets, being with Sentiment, what have you learned? What have you learned, like being through that sort of 2000, peak 2017, early 2018 when we had the bull run, and then we've just had that bear market going all the way through 2018. So what have you guys learned about the crypto markets?
Oh yes, that's, I think actually it's generally a very good question. I believe this bear market is perfect for us to reflect a little bit. Yeah, it's because once we're in the bull and everything growing, like we have no time to reflect on anything. Everyone is so excited or like filled with adrenaline. Now it's a good quiet time, and the reflection you're asking. Okay, what do they learn? Well, first thing we like proved again, and this time on a big scale because of so many participants. Things are changing, and the cryptos are changing very fast. Whatever grows to 20,000, as we see, can fall to 3,000 in no matter like 1 year. And we also learned that HODL, as good as it sounds, from fundamental or belief parameter, it's by no means good for us. We need to learn, understand the risk of not seeing the top score, especially jumping into something when it's on the top. So these two things are moved in the cycles and very fast cycles, and we need to be prepared. Things can change anytime. And we need to learn how to spot the moments of changing environment where, okay, maybe it's time to pull out. And of course, we learned many things on fundamental crypto level, that the governance is important and scalability is important and the communities, even excited communities, they can also clash with each other, like Bitcoin Cash. These things we also learned, but they're coming like in parallel. For us, as if we're talking about trading and investing, this rapid changes, and the mind cannot fall up. We need to deal with it. It's a quite, I think, interesting but challenging now topic for all of us. Yeah.
Oh,
and 2 years, is exactly this last 2 years, perfect for this, I believe.
I've enjoyed this year, I've got to say. It's just giving an opportunity because crypto moves so fast, and it's good to have that slower pace because there's opportunity to accumulate, to learn. The amount I've learned in a year, just learn about fundamentals, learning about the technology developers,
correct.
platforms, and it's just given a chance for the market to mature. And I think the market's matured quite a bit, so it's good to have that breather. So how can the core concept assist the everyday investor?
It's not only about investment for us. As I say, it's the first education and understanding everything, and this comes together, understanding what, as we said about cycles, we need to some degree formalize how cycles looks like, based on the data, based on the charts, based when you combine and place charts to each other. And this part we do on sentiment, even though this is maybe the most esoteric part, how you visualize the changing mood of the crowd. But which is not so esoteric, you take a lot of data for every cryptocurrency network, not only Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, Bitcoin Cash, and so on. From top, I think we cover like top 1,000, and you take the data from the on-chain activity, where you start comparing and visualizing it, what's happening on daily basis with this network. You combine to it how people are talking about, and you add to it how developer active is. And this, as an overview, in our opinion, it's very important to understand how feasible or how active the network by itself is. Because every cryptocurrency is nothing else as a network of participants or miners, doesn't matter, or investors. There should be some engaged and active network. And once you understand the cycle of development of this particular network, and you combine with a total crypto market cycle, then you can make, I believe, a much smarter trading or investing decisions. But without blindly running into next pump and then dump, that would make a long-term or sustainable approach to cryptocurrency market. And we do collect all the data, try to show you in as much possible way, so that you can make better trading decisions. Yeah? So it's long answer, but yeah, need to cover much.
So it provides crypto investors with the ability to do their own research and provide them with the tools to assist in trading. So could you go over some of the features of the platform at a glance? I know it's simple and clear. I know it's something you've already just touched base on, but could you just go over the features of the platform a little bit more there, Max?
Yeah, sure. On the basic level, there are only two features. There is as we call it, a kind of signaling, or we call it like sonar, like pulsating when we inform you something happened. And there is for it to see in the depths some context. For instance, we track that suddenly in a crypto community, specific words or topics are mentioned, they're trending. Okay, what does it mean? And then we provide you some context to it to understand you, does it make sense for me now to act, or just only for me like to understand what's happening, don't act at the moment. So these two components, signaling something happened and provide context to it. It's on the basic level what two major features our platform is built around. Now, you can imagine explanation or providing context to crypto. It's a very challenging and always or very often demands or requires inside information or knowledge or some specific understanding. I don't know if it's about gaming industry of EOS, it's one thing. It's about scalability in Ethereum, it's another thing. If it's about Ethereum or parity conflict, it's another thing. So if you know what's going on, you can explain very fast and give this context to others. And here, where our most, I think, interesting things is common, called like insights. Something triggered, and a part of expert community can attach their explanation to it, so that the others who are interested in this particular event can get access to it. And eventually, how we're building up this decentralized marketplace will kick in. So those who are interested but cannot produce will be able to connect and maybe some kind of in some or another form pay those who can provide these insights. I think this is like main three pillars of how the system looks from outside. Yeah? From inside, it's more complicated because many different pipelines collecting all the data from different blockchains. We run our own full nodes on major blockchains, and we collect scrap data from all social channels related to crypto. So inside, it's more complicated. But from your side, you want to be informed if something happened of importance, one part. You want to see the context, another part. You believe you can contribute and write some explanations to this daily basis in crypto. Well, this is the most amazing part. We'll be more than happy to see you on our platform. And this is like the full circle.
So Max, how accurate is the data? I mean, how do you achieve to get the most accurate data?
There is one tricky point. You know, I will start from a little bit aside, but I will bring it then to exactly this question. When we typically analyze the market from behavior point of view, we see it as a waves, like Elliott waves, or like simply as a circles. And the interesting thing about crowd psychology, whatever you had in the previous circle, previous wave as a behavior pattern, it never repeats on the next one. I don't know, it's very interesting. Maybe because the crowd itself learned how they reacted, like 2014 when we were building the bottom of Bitcoin at the time, yeah, or the cold crash. There was a very specific patterns and actually a high level of depression. No one believed in Bitcoin. And I remember at the time, like we'll say, okay, well, except very vital part of the community say, okay, Bitcoin is not useful, blockchain was a hype. And there was a period of time. Now, I believe we're in a very similar situation from price perspective, like we built some kind of bottom or formation. Now the behavior is not the same. People in crypto, they don't give they don't care about blockchain much. The majority say crypto is a must, and we have talked about security token offerings and now exchange offerings. So this, you see already behavior changed. You don't expect, if you're looking for a bottom, you don't expect people start bashing crypto and looking only for blockchain. It will not happen. We will have something else. Now, taking into account that the behavior of crowd and every cycle change, how do you interpret? And the data is actually more or less the same. Like you see increase, well, when we see on-chain activities, there is increase, there is a dump, some stagnation, and some slow accumulation. It's always the same. The explanation of the data, why people behave in this way, is from every circle different, and the explanation, to be precise and productive, there is at the moment there is no yet standardized framework. There is no yet proven track record for any research outside who can say, okay, I pick up exactly the bottom, exactly the top, and this bottom. No one have this knowledge yet. So we all learn with this set of data. If we compare to what was before, what could it mean? And we do our assumptions, 50% right, 50% wrong. So these assumptions, I really urge everyone to look at it, be it me, you, or someone else, look at it as assumptions. We try our best, but we're still learning. So we're still learning, and the objectivity or like productivity of our predictions is as such, it's just assumptions. The data, however, is very objective, and when you look, if I would open a screen with amount of metrics we have, it's like overwhelming. I don't know, maybe 20, 30 metrics for Ethereum itself. It's very objective. How do you interpret it? How do you explain it? This is another question. Yeah? So I hope it answers something.
That's okay, Max. Max, I was just wondering, like, do you have any venture capitalist firms or institutions looking at your data, looking at the insights of the platform? Have you had any, you know, them sort of people getting involved?
Yeah, quite, as a matter of fact, quite a lot. We did make contact maybe to half of major players, and many of them did stake Sun tokens, and they look into our data. And this is exactly the one of the reasons I said before, the explanation of the data It's very innovative field. Whenever we come up with some new aggregation exploration, what might happen, they're always they're interested and excited, and because it's a new field. But the institution, also big players, definitely looking, especially they're interested in launching data. There is a belief you can build some kind of fundamental model, or where you can track the development of the network. It's not really achieved yet, but there is a belief we can do something with it.
So things like stable coins and tokenized security assets, tokenized security analysis on the platform. Is that something teams will be looking at into the future with with STOs increasing, looking at tokenized asset securities and them sort of areas?
May I ask one provocative question? How, because of STO, security token offerings, there have been so many talks here, and you mentioned it now. How strong do you believe this is the next big thing, and how much can it really compare to what we've witnessed now 3 times from Binance, initial exchange offerings EOR, and now even Bittrex joined the run, and they announced the new exchange initial exchange offerings. Because from Binance, what we've seen, it's happening and it's working. Good or bad, or for investors is another question, but it's working and they keep doing it. From STO, I have yet to see anything with some level of traction. There are talks, and there are, even in Germany, I think there was one first STO. I don't see any traction for it. I'm not sure, or I'm not convinced yet that the community of those, speculators or investors, shillers and all the thing, that they're really interested in the STOs. It seems to me, yeah. What is your opinion on it?
Well, STOs don't seem as exciting, and the thing is that we haven't really seen. I mean, you can look at Polymath, and you see some projects tapping into STOs, but they haven't really come onto the scene in a big way yet. There's a lot of speculation that they will, with financial institutions possibly getting involved. Now, it does provide more of a safe haven for financial institutions, but whether or not that'll be something that will be utilised in the future, like it's predicted to be the next big thing to replace ICOs. I think ICOs is a place for ICOs and STOs and IPOs, any crowd token generation event. There's going to be room for them both in the future. I just think it all comes down to regulation, basically, with the ICO.
Yes. Well, sometimes I really like to provoke people and say, why do you think STOs are considered to be the next big thing? And in my opinion, it's because of the very strong pain we've got during ICO wave, that so many people lost the money. Now the claim that STOs are a secure way, where there is some regulation, where some people from outside government or some rules prevent from being scammed or whatever. Now, all of these people, they forgot one thing: to remove risk and you remove reward. The risk and reward are always on the same level. Now, when you try to control risk, it's a good thing, but then you come to the level of, I don't know, normal stocks, which is their performance. And still, if you try to let community learn by itself, in which token generation events you should participate, we do have now a lot of knowledge, and if you ask now with some shady ICO to do token offerings, no one will participate, regardless how strong you try. Now, in this case, the risk might be higher, but the reward is also high. And I believe this current attempt from exchanges to run this initial exchange offerings might be actually, I don't know how big things, but the next evolution of what we see. And I personally would prefer to see, and if I would start now, not 2016 as I started, but now, I would try to build as much as possible with own money and some product which involve community, and then you just start doing airdrops. You just start distributing tokens without actually running any big actions. I think this is actually could be the next big thing, but depends on the market. It's all our assumptions. STOs themselves doesn't sound so like attractive. I don't see much reward there, but okay, it's maybe.
the thing is, with ICOs, it did allow a lot of people to get involved with Ethereum, given that token generation event that's projects are able to gain mass amounts of money very quickly. And STOs is most probably something that is more exclusive to people who in developed countries. And that's most probably the downfalls of STOs, where you've got to be, you've got to have a bit of money behind you, where that was the beauty of ICOs, is that people from developing countries like Thailand, people like India and China, even like Africa, South America, anyone can get involved, and it spreads the wealth evenly. Unfortunately, though, ICOs got tainted with a lot of scams, with a lot of bad people being ripped off over time. And I think it comes down to like the regulation, as we talked about. So I honestly think there's a space for ICOs, but STOs don't seem exciting. But I think there is a place for my opinion anyway. It's just my opinion, but I think that it's going to be good to have STO options for the fund and for credit investors and people that want to set up pension funds and etc. And it's also ICOs. It's going to be a good place for ICOs as well, and they need to provide that avenue for for startups, as a way of to raise capital. What does the future hold for Sentiment and the use and the use for the SAN token, as well?
Right. So for now, SAN token is used mostly as a kind of discount token. It means, and for the moment till now, it was possible. You just stake 1,000 SAN token, you get 100% discount, so you don't pay anything. Have in your account 100,000 SAN tokens, and you're exposed to all these metrics. I don't know, 50, 60. We have all the data, all dashboards. You can see it. So it was till now. Now, for professional, let's say like big players, funds, or let's call it institutionals, we now established a few specific subscriptions where they pay some monthly also like a fee. And if they stake a substantial amount of SAN tokens, they get like also like 50% discount. So this is like for big players, because we know we can give them great value, they have a lot of experience, and we can adjust for them, like develop their own specific metrics or their own personalized signaling system. Now, for the community side, this is the most interesting, which is changing a lot. Once we found a way how to establish circulation of knowledge in the platform. What I mean by it, something is fired, some event, trending word, or sudden increase in network activity, or sudden decrease in the social activity, and someone kicks in and goes in and explain it, there must be reward for this person. Could be his personal, if he sees it as a trading opportunity utilized, or if he's building his reputation. So there must be reward coming from the community. And this is, I believe, exactly where SAN token is most interesting utilized. It can be used as a voting mechanics to pop up high quality explanation content. Then it will be more like curation market. It can be mostly used for some kind of governments where a community decide what they want to see as the next developed, or some kind of definition of how we can move this living organism further. But these two usage of SAN tokens, you don't see it yet on the platform, and this is what will be coming like in the next weeks. Depends when interviews coming out. Maybe it's already there, maybe not. But for rewarding and popping up high quality explanation content on crypto, it might be the most next thing coming on our platform.
Oh, great stuff, Max. Is there anything else you guys are looking at doing, like later on in the year, development-wise?
Yes. One other thing we've covered so far, I think 5 or 6 major blockchains, and we are planning to add a few more, especially like now Tron and Binance supposed to be coming. And the interesting thing, I mean, when we're talking about blockchain, it means scraping the data is easier things, and then building meaningful metrics on top of it. Metrics which explains life cycle of this blockchain, and maybe spikes or changes, sudden changes in user behavior when they suddenly move a lot of tokens to exchange, or when unexpectedly a lot of circulation starts happening. This kind of things we have for Ethereum in a big amount of metrics, and we're like spreading, I think, to 19 across all other blockchains. Yeah. So this is from technical, and it's quite challenging. I don't know how many terabytes of data we have now, but system running now. If we like do 5 times more, I hope it will still be running. It's a really huge set of data, and it's not only like building metrics, but as I say, like signaling or providing you information when sudden shift changed, so that you are one of the first ones who sees it and you can act on it. And this probably one of the biggest challenge for this year. Another one on a level of social data. As I mentioned, we have probably now more than 100 million records of talks, Bitcoin talk, all telegrams for related to crypto, Twitter, I don't know, Discord, like a lot of stuff. And we do a lot of interesting metrics. What we don't do yet in-depth analysis of some specific psychology patterns, like see suddenly increase of concerns or spike of pattern, or like constant disbelief in the market recovery. Yeah? It's very interesting pattern. So we want to invest a lot of efforts in it during this year, so that it's not only signaling based on-chain or like on a basic change in the social volume, but also if even you are not interested in some specific token, still you want to learn how different networks works. And once we identify specific pattern, you also get notified of it. These two things for 19, I think, our maybe biggest technology challenge. The rest kind of solved, but this two still exist.
Great stuff, Max. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So, guys, what I'll do, I'll put down the links down below if you want to check out Sentiment. I'll put down their link for their website, Medium article, and the Telegram channel. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Do your own research, of course. Provide projects like Sentiment an opportunity to share their developments. So, thank you so much for your time, Max, and have a wonderful afternoon, mate.
Thank you, Jamie. Just one sentence, not sure. Telegram, better use our Discord channel, because most communications happen on our Discord channel. We don't use Telegram so much.
Sure, there we go, guys. So yeah, jump on that Discord. So no worries, Max. Enjoy your afternoon. I'll catch you later, mate.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Yep, see you later, mate. Bye.
Yeah, bye.